أهلا وسهلا فيكم بحلقة جديدة خاصة وحصرية من برنامج يلا. اليوم ضيفنا هو أحد أهم عرابي اتفاقيات سلام الإبراهيمية، والذي قام بالكثير من الإنجازات الهامة خلال شغله لمناصب وزير الخارجية الأميركي ورئيس الاستخبارات الأمريكية المركزية CIA السابق خلال إدارة دونالد ترامب. حذرتوا مين هو؟ ضيفنا لحلقة اليوم هو مايك بومبيو.
It's an honor to have you, Secretary Pompeo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you all.
So I wanted to start by, talking about the Abraham Accords. You are one of the founding fathers of the Abraham Accords. Those are the peace agreements that were signed between Israel and different Arab countries. Can you tell us about this moment when you realized that peace is actually within reach?
Oh goodness, there were so many moments that we were convinced it was going to happen, and then several when I was convinced it just might not. I think that's the way these things always go. What we really had take place was a series of very bold leaders who were prepared to break a lot of glass, who were prepared to take some risk for what they knew was a long-term good thing for their own country. So whether it was the leadership in Bahrain, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed in the Emirates, President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, these leaders all said there's a better path forward. We know what history has shown. We always would laugh. Previous secretaries of state would fly back and forth and try and negotiate about lines on the map, trying to settle this conflict with the Palestinians. We knew we wouldn't be any better at that than those who'd come before us, that the leadership in Palestine was just not gonna do anything. So we tried a different approach. And these leaders were bold, and there came a day where it became pretty clear that we had a group of at least two, maybe as many as 5 or 6 that would move forward and recognize Israel's right to exist. What a glorious outcome.
Yes, it is. And I actually wanted to ask you if you have one unforgettable moment during that process to achieving peace.
There were a couple of phone calls, I can't say a whole lot about them, where there were some very difficult issues that had to be overcome, and assurances at one level, but more important than that, just really it was I want to hear one more time that the United States is going to be there to backstop this thing. And none of this happens without American support. It took the leadership here in the United States to piece this thing all together and to give each of the parties, the Israelis, the Emiratis, the Sudanese, everyone, the confidence to move forward. It's why I don't think we can expand this. I pray that I'm wrong, that we can expand the Abraham Accords unless America is fully committed to being a partner with Israel. That was the linchpin, the decision to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. All of these things were parts. The decision to take a strike on Qasem Soleimani. Right? All of these things led to people having confidence that the United States was actually going to live up to the promises that it made.
In our previous interview, you said the best is yet to come. How do you see the peace blossoming? What else do you want to see happening on the road for peace?
The thing that's most exciting to me is when someone will pass me a note or they'll send me something that showed up on Twitter, just ordinary Bahrainis, or someone who's been living in the Emirates who's now living in Tel Aviv, some young student or some kid who's decided they're going to go make their business someplace else. When I see those things, you know that this has really taken root. This is not going to go backward. This is an unfettered good thing for humanity and for humankind and for the people of every one of those countries. We often talk about it in terms of security and diplomacy. This is about ordinary families' lives in these places. And I think they can all see that whatever enmity there may have been historically no longer made sense, and that they were better off acknowledging Israel's right to exist as the Jewish homeland, and that they were going to find a way to get along.
Yes, this is a very important point. What do you think the Abraham Accords mean for the ordinary people in the Middle East?
Yeah. I think it took a bit for them to get it. It looked like some fancy ceremony. It looked like some high-minded deal. The truth is it was so much more important than that, so much more basic than that. This was about, since the founding of Israel, the group of countries saying, we want to wipe this country off the face of the earth. That's not a good place to be. It reduces security for each of those nations. It creates economic hardship for those countries. Israel's a prosperous, technologically advanced, very capable security partner. For ordinary people, it means you can get in an airplane and fly to Tel Aviv, Jaffa, something that, in America, people wouldn't even know. Like, really, you couldn't fly a plane from Dubai to Israel? Like, no, you couldn't. Now you can. This is special stuff. It's good. It seems commonplace to an American. But for a citizen of the Middle East now, they have opportunities that they didn't have before, and that's really wonderful.
Any predictions on the next country to join the Accords?
No, I don't know which one, but there will be more. Because as they see the success of the Abraham Accords, I don't just mean some important ribbon cutting or some big gathering on the South Lawn. the success that comes from better lives for ordinary people, I think there'll be many nations who will say, I'm going to abandon the past, I'm going to abandon this enmity towards Israel, I'm going to join modernity and be part of what will move the Middle East and the world forward. So I couldn't tell you, I'm confident that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will one day. I hope there'll be Southeast Asian Islamic countries, Indonesia, Malaysia. I hope that they will come to see it this way as well. I believe that that is true. And if America is prepared to lead, I'm confident it can come sooner rather than later.
Secretary Pompeo, you are a man of faith, and you said that you keep the Bible open on your desk. And even before the Abraham Accords were signed, you said that we're all the sons of Abraham, Muslims, Jews, and Christians. Can you share with us why do you believe that religious tolerance is so important?
It's so much at the core of human dignity. The right that every human being, no matter what circumstance they're brought into life, whether it's someone who's in terrible conditions in Africa or under the jackboot of Xi Jinping in Western China, every human being has this fundamental right to live their lives and practice their faith in the way they choose. And if they choose not to practice their faith, so be that. You find that when you bring people together around this idea, that you can expand the space for human freedom. We held these gatherings, we called them ministerials. And the truth is, they were just gathering of a group of people from every faith. We had Baha'is, we had Muslims, we had those people who fight all the time, Lutherans and Methodists and Presbyterians like myself. We probably had some Wiccans. I mean, who knows? But we brought people together around this central idea of allowing faith to grow and flourish around the world. And the governments ought not impinge on that. When you do that, so much good follows. Not just the fact of, but economies flourish, there's less war, there's more opportunity for every human being.
Amen. As a Christian, you've walked on the path of biblical figures. Can you share with us one memorable or the most memorable walk that you've had in the Middle East?
Oh goodness, there were so many. One of the highlights was to go visit this beautiful church in Egypt that had been built by President Sisi. And he had allowed this amazing Christian facility to be right next to this huge mosque, brand new, all glorious. I think a synagogue is likely to go in next. I was there about a month after the grand opening, and to see this place that has had so much difficulty, so much challenge because of Islamic extremism, to see it opening up to religions more broadly, and to see people be able to practice their faith openly inside of Egypt was something that I'll never forget.
While you're serving as a Secretary of State, you visited the Middle East and North Africa regions, and you said that America is a force for good in the region. Can you share with our audience and our younger generations of the Middle East and North Africa, how is the United States a force for good in the region? Why is it so important to have the American role?
When I was in office, I talked about America being a force for good in the Middle East. We're not conquering countries. If we have sent soldiers to the Middle East, it was to try to protect the lives of people who were under threat from evil aggressors inside of that place. When America shows up in the Middle East, we want to be your friend. We want to grab a Diet Coke with you. We want to help you build your business so that we can be successful too. We want to be friends and partners and allies and neighbors and good people. Whether we're Christians here or Jews or Muslim, we want to come to these places to help those countries live lives that are better for them. They'll have their own way, they'll have their own governance structure, all of that's wonderful. But we have historically been an enormous force for good. When we've shown up, people in the Middle East were safer. They were less at risk. They had more opportunities. I pray that that's the case. I am confident. I was in the Emirates, I spent a couple months now, and I was in Israel just before that, and then I traveled to Saudi Arabia. I watched young people, women in Saudi Arabia, who for the first time think, I'm going to have a chance to actually join the workforce and build up. That America's played an important part of helping Saudi Arabia to get there. These are good things. This is how countries and people move forward. And the United States wants to be every bit a part of it that it possibly can be.
I want to share with you that you've lost a few kilos. Of course, a lot of people have said that to you. You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Can you share with us the tips of how could people do this?
I can absolutely share it, but there's no secret. Eat less and exercise more. I wish I had a better answer. That's how I did it. I need to get back serious again too. I need to make sure that weight doesn't come back. It's been the struggle of a lifetime, as it is for so many. And the most important thing is I feel better and I'm healthier, and I'm going to be around for my grandkids and to spend the next 40 years with my lovely wife Susan as well.
That's beautiful. I saw a picture that you posted on Instagram where you were making meatballs.
Yes.
Can you share with us the recipe of your meatballs and what is your favorite
So
food
my
recipe?
meatball recipe is out there. We put it out on our Christmas card when I was at CIA. It was kind of a joke about the Pompeo family meatballs. So the recipe's out there. You can find it online. Google Pompeo and meatballs. I think you'll find it.
Okay.
But I enjoy cooking. I didn't get as much chance to do it these last 4 or 5 years, but this last, 15 months, I love to grill, love to go out back and help Susan prepare the meal.
Mm-hmm. Can you share with us and our audience too one thing they don't know about Mike Pompeo?
Oh, goodness gracious. There's nothing I like more than being with my wife and son. There's nothing that brings me more joy than spending time with them. My son's getting married in July of this year.
Congratulations.
We are so happy. It's a lovely young woman named Rachel Keller, and we are so looking forward to it.
That's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
From the Yalla team.
Thank you.
To you and your family and your son and his fiance. I actually want to go to the speed round.
Okay,
Are you
let's do
ready?
it.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you do for fun?
I read. I love reading. History, mostly.
I can jump to what's your favorite book?
Oh, goodness, there's so many. I don't even know where to begin. I spend more time reading the Bible than anything else, but I'll pick up whatever else is out there. If you go back, I remember just being so struck when I was in high school, in my junior and senior year, and then in college, reading the founding documents, right? The Federalist Papers, the writings of de Tocqueville, all of these things that talked about how republics hold together during difficult times. I think they're especially pertinent. Perhaps I should pick them up again, given what's going on in Ukraine today.
Yes. What about your favorite music? Rock, pop, or country?
Country music.
Country?
Country music, yeah, I'm from Kansas.
All right. What's your favorite song?
The Star Spangled Banner. From country music, I love George Strait, and then there's a singer that's on fire today. His name's Jimmy Allen. Gotten to know him a little bit. He's got some great music. He had one come out last week or the week before called Down Home about his father. It's truly amazing about family and what it means to try and do honor to those who came before you.
Beautiful. What's your favorite movie? That's a hard one.
So many. The Godfather, all of them.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
If I'm a little more lighthearted mood, I'm a big Anchorman fan. It's a little embarrassing to admit that, but it's pretty darn funny.
Yes, it's a tough one. Being an anchor woman myself.
Good evening, I'm Ron Burgundy.
What's your favorite biblical passage?
I go back to so many. I think today, perhaps especially important, is Ephesians 6, talks about putting on the armor of God. I saw that when I was Secretary of State. There were hard problems everywhere. There were no easy answers by the time it got to me. And when I handed something to the president for his decision, they were even harder. We were attacked for our faith. We were attacked because we were determined to protect and defend the American way of life. And I would remind myself that Ephesians, his letter to the apostles, talks about putting on the armor of God every day and recognizing there's something bigger than you. There's something even bigger than the job that you have or the country that you're representing. There's something that is a higher power. And we tried to get it right every day. We didn't do that here. We had earthly sin, as everyone does. But it was certainly important to me to know that I had his strength, his protection, helping me make good decisions every day.
Amazing. Favorite quote?
It reminds me so many great quotes. I'll go with this, given what's going on in Ukraine today. Churchill said that America always does the right thing after it's exhausted every other possibility. And I think in some ways we're close to that with what's taking place here at home today in the United States and what we're seeing happen all over the world. The world is safer and more secure when America is prepared to lead and take some risk associated with that. And when we do, when we grow our economy and do the things right here at home, the next generation of young people, my son's age and the young people who will come behind them in the United States will get the same cool privilege that I had to be an American and make our own choices about how to raise our family and live our lives.
Absolutely. What is your favorite guilty pleasure?
I'm doing it less now. There's nothing I like a good bowl of ice cream, so I'm trying to stay away from it.
Good. What's your ideal date night with Susan?
We usually just, we'll be at home, we'll watch TV, we'll try and figure out which series our son told us we should go binge watch and try and catch up. We're usually a couple, 3 years behind, but we do our best. We enjoy that. Our time alone together is precious.
So 2024 is coming up. Do you have any plans?
To be in this same fight, this fight about what this most exceptional nation in all of recorded civilizational history ought to look like, how we ought to shape the way we all interact with each other. We should do our best to find common ground. We should do our best to remember that this republic was hard fought. People were prepared to sacrifice for it. We shouldn't forget that. And so whatever the noise of the day is, we should try and push that aside and focus on those things that are absolutely essential: our family, our faith, these things that make life better for each of us. Where that'll put me in 2024, goodness knows. I'm working hard trying to help candidates be successful. Gosh, just 7 months from now, I guess 8 months in November. And then I'll be somewhere. I don't know if it'll be back in public life or not, but somewhere fighting this same fight.
Wonderful. 1, 2, 3.
Yalla!